Good morning, Curvists, or whatever time of the day it is. This is Jemmy. I am taking a walk the morning after an extraordinarily transformative experience known as Podfest 2017. As you know, this podcast is all about encouraging people to pursue their dreams, do what they love, and figure out a way around obstacles. That's called curving your cube. And as I've been giving you really great interviews with amazingly inspirational guests, what's been happening is I've been curving my own cube. I just didn't realize it. And a couple months ago, I decided I need to become more open about my own journey. So I wanted to take you very intimately with me on this pivotal time as I went to Podfest. Because I've never felt more at peace. I've never felt more in my lane than at Podfest. Let that sink in, guys, for just a minute. I've never felt more in my lane than I did at Podfest in my entire life. Because I finally found what I wanted to do, put myself out there, and also found my tribe. And it was just such a wonderful experience. So what you're about to hear is an episode unlike any you've heard before from me. You're about to hear several interviews with other podcasters who were there, sharing this amazing experience with me. So please go check out their shows as well. And there's so many awesome nuggets of how they're doing what they're doing and putting action behind their passion that can be applied to any of you in any of your dreams. So I'm so excited as I'm on this walk the morning after Podfest. I know now that I'm really walking the lane I'm supposed to be. I'm really walking the journey I'm supposed to be. I've never felt more at ease. So thank you guys so much for coming with me on this episode and really, really put action behind your passion. Pull out some great tips from these folks. They're brilliant. And as you go on your journeys, guys, if you have a stumbling block, if you're wondering, how do I figure out what I want to do? How do I put action behind my passion? As you stumble along the way or have questions or just need a little extra boost, email me, curvethecube@gmail.com, or at least go visit my website, curvethecube.com or iTunes, and listen to some other episodes of just wonderful people who are following their passions, and they're doing it. They're curving their cubes, and I want you guys to all do the same. So thank you for joining me on this journey. Remember, find your passion, do your thing. Curve the Cube Podcast. Enjoy. Curve the Cube will now initiate. All right, so this is Jemmy here from Flintstone Media, aka Curve the Cube Podcast, and I'm here with my friend Teresa Chambers. Woohoo! Also known as
folks.
Muse with Me online.
That's right. That's
Tenth
right.
Muse Enterprises.
Yeah. And my podcast is BOS, Business of Style.
Heck yeah! And
yes.
we are here mentioning our podcast because we are here for Podfest! Podfest 2017!
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm excited
too.
for today's workshops
Yes.
with Elsie Escobar and everyone who's doing the workshops today.
Yes.
And a whole bunch of stuff. There are going to be so many great speakers.
There are going to be so many great speakers.
What are you looking forward to most?
I'm looking forward to learning how to monetize my podcast. All right, Haitian hustler. We got this.
I'm excited about that. I'm excited about, because I know there's a lot of information about growing a network,
Yes.
so I'm excited about that.
Yes.
So there's just going to be so many great speakers.
There's going to be a lot of great speakers.
Pena.
Danny, I can't wait to hear his keynote in the morning tomorrow. That's going to be awesome.
So if anyone doesn't know, I'm the organizer of the Palm Beach Podcasters, and
Yes.
Danny Pena was our special guest at our last meetup, and he was fantastic.
He really is fantastic.
He's founder of Gamer Tag Radio, so I'm excited to see him here again today.
I'm looking forward to that, definitely.
And one of our own, Carrie Lutz, is also speaking.
Yes, that's right. Carrie's going to be here. It's very, very exciting.
Yes.
Yes. And I haven't even run through the whole list, but I will tell you that I love the fact that they have put together this tool for us to be able to schedule everything.
Yes. You say sked or shed or however you pronounce it.
Right?
Yeah.
But we are scheduled. I mean, I'm looking at my schedule and it's like something going on all day.
I know.
From morning to night. Great parties.
My head's
great
gonna be
mixers.
spinning.
It's going to be so much great information. I don't even know all that's here.
Excited.
It's going to be so much fun.
Yes.
There's going to be so much learning.
Yes.
We got great networking.
Yes.
And it's a great place. This
Absolutely.
Awesome Carib Royale.
And we haven't even gone inside
And
yet.
we haven't even gone inside.
We're all impressed with the parking lot.
I know. We're
this
all
parking
wired.
lot is fantastic.
Yes, it's awesome parking lot. Everything is awesome today for the Podfest.
Yeah.
They did the right thing. It's going to be awesome.
It's going to be awesome.
It's going on 9 o'clock, so we are just getting
in time.
ready to get started.
So let's get our happy behind inside.
Let's get happy inside, and yes.
Let's get going. Podfest 2017. High five. Woo!
I can't even talk. It's too early.
What you're about to hear is a clip of my participation in the PodFusion storytelling session.
Thanks, Elsie. Thanks, Jessica. And thank you to all of you. So I'm Jemmy. I have a couple of podcasts, but what I actually want to tell you about is the time that I went to Paris, lost my appendix, and my voice has never been the same. I was in college. It was the summer between my junior and my senior year, and my parents and I don't come from a lot of money. So when I say that I saw an opportunity and we had to work really, really hard for it, we worked really, really hard for it, and we managed to get myself into the summer program. And I went away to, first in Spain, spent a couple weeks there, and I was sick the whole entire time, and I'm an idiot, and I didn't realize that food poisoning only lasts about 24 or 48 hours, so it wasn't the raw chicken I ate when I first landed. My second day in Paris, I was rushed to the hospital by some friends. Turns out I had appendicitis. So after working really, really hard to claim this great opportunity, here I was, my first trip abroad in the hospital. I had appendicitis. So what was crazy is they did it laparoscopically. How many of you are familiar with that term? I should say, how many are not familiar with that term? Anybody not? Okay. So laparoscopically, rather than one long big incision, they basically poke a few holes. And when they poke a few holes, they have to have room to work. So they pump you full of CO2. And at the end of the surgery, they're supposed to deflate you. In my case, they did not. And I woke up looking like I was 5 or 6 months pregnant and in a tremendous amount of pain. Meanwhile, the guy who had his appendix out the day after me was rocking around like it was no big deal. It was not good. Now, my last name is Le Gagneux, right? Very French. So, meanwhile, I'm in pain, so I can't speak French when I'm in pain. And some of the nurses were not happy with me because they thought I was making things difficult. So after a while of people not listening and the pain getting worse, my appendix, my whole body just shutting down, I checked myself out of the hospital. I tried to go home. Unfortunately, the airlines were on strike and I couldn't get anywhere. So I finally managed a week later to board a flight and get home. In that week's time, I couldn't breathe anymore, hardly. So the next morning, my mother had a trip scheduled to my physician where they had chest x-rays done, and they said, "We can't believe you made the flight, get to the hospital now." So much pressure had built up, my lung collapsed. And it had been collapsed for about 2 weeks. It took another 2 weeks and about 6 months of physical therapy to get to where it is, which is about 2/3 of the size it's supposed to be. Needless to say, my career at the time as an EMT was done. My career that never quite got off the ground that I wanted to get off the ground as a singer was done. And I had a hard time breathing, let alone walking, exercising, any of that. My life changed, and not for the better. But what I realized, sometimes you have an opportunity, it doesn't quite work out the way you want it, and it's an opportunity now to learn something. So what I learned is, I worked really hard for something, and I wasn't gonna let it stop me. So maybe my dream wasn't the same, and I needed to find a new one. So I took that lesson, and I carried it through the rest of my life. And what I learned is, at some point I decided to change careers, and it took a lot of courage to do that. And I don't know what the outcome is, right? I had learned that lesson big time. But I went forward with it, and I thought marketing and podcasting might be the thing. So I started doing that, and in doing so, I have found my voice. Talking has strengthened my lung. Can you believe that? I no longer need my asthma inhaler, which I was digging in my bag for and I couldn't find it. I no longer need it, but maybe once in a while. So podcasting has become my own exercise, my own way of regaining my voice, and my own way of propelling my own dreams forward. So, in essence, sometimes you have a dream. Sometimes it doesn't work out the way you plan. But that's okay, because every lost dream is a new opportunity. Thank you.
Right on.
That was very good. Thank you, Jenny.
That was pretty
That was very good. The
hardcore.
amount of time we had to prepare, that was excellent.
Holy monkeys.
Anyone else want to give it a shot?
Want to give it a shot?
This next clip is still part of this episode, guys. I promise. It just is going to sound like it's a different podcast because part of what Podfusion did was have us in a group kind of create an impromptu first podcast episode intro teaser thing. So that's what this is.
To be honest,
To be honest.
To be honest.
To be honest,
To be honest. Welcome to the To Be Honest podcast. I'm your host, Jemmy, and I have a lot of co-hosts with me. We have Michael, Anise, Debbie, and Teresa. And let's be honest about ourselves. Financially, our dreams, our goals, our mistakes, and our failures, right? All of our truths. Because until we do that, we don't get to really live a truly full life. And the more honest we are, the more we propel society forward as a whole. We are a group of podcasters who have collectively had hundreds of conversations, and we know how to get honest. So get honest with us with the To Be Honest podcast.
to be honest, I suffer from depression.
To be honest, I found my voice when I turned down the noise.
To be honest, I am tired of people always making it about money.
to be honest, I do believe that I am the baddest bee in the room, but that wasn't always the case.
To be honest, I didn't know how important it was to follow your dreams until I started. These are just the surfaces of our stories. On this podcast, you'll dive deeper into our own truths, explore our guests' truths, and encourage you to discover and share yourself. So, to be honest, let's be honest. It may get weird. It may get uncomfortable. It will definitely be both deep and humorous. It will be real. Through this podcast, you'll find others who share your worldviews, realize you're not alone, and gain encouragement to be yourself. So let's be honest on the To Be Honest podcast. Hey guys, it's Jemmy. Okay, so I just finished up with day one of Podfest 2017 here in Orlando with just all the wonderful people of Podfest, and it has been amazing. My friend Teresa came with me, so we woke up around 4:30 this morning, and then I went and picked her up, and we started our road trip, and then we stopped for gas, and then stopped at McDonald's and drove all the way to Orlando, and I went to check in, and oh my gosh. Yeah, I lost my business debit card. Eek! So that was a whole big old mess. But luckily, the whole rest of the night took an absolutely wonderful and amazing day. Took an absolutely wonderful and amazing turn to the positive. And it has been just one of the best days ever in my podcasting career. I cannot even begin to tell you how much fun I'm having so far. Guys, I'm learning so much. So my goal, here was to learn how to take my podcasting to the next level. I firmly believe in always be growing, always be learning, always be improving. And especially if I'm going to be helping others, build podcasts and have a podcast network and all of that jazz, like, how dare I stop learning, right? And so that's what I was wanting to do here. And of course, meet so many wonderful people that I've been emailing with and doing social media with, over the past couple of years. So the first thing I did and participated in was Podfusion. Podfusion was basically an all-day workshop put on by Elsie, Escobar, and Jessica Kupferman from She Podcast, and it was absolutely fantastic. So She Podcast, they basically built that podcast to support other women in the podcasting space, because we are the minority in podcasting. They started this whole podcast and community to give women, to honor women's voices. So if you're out there and you want another female set of voices to listen to, check out She Podcast. But anyway, so they were doing this awesome workshop called Podfusion, and they did a lot of different exercises, and we went through what makes a good story, and it was fun. I actually volunteered and went up there and shared a 5-minute story. And after I got done telling my story, I can't even tell you, it was just, I'm a participator. That's how I am. It's always how I've been. I like to sit in front, not because I'm a nerd, which I am, not because I'm a kiss up, which I'm not, but I like to sit up front because I like to participate. And if I'm going to be someplace, I might as well get the most out of it that I can. So that's why I volunteered and told my story. But what was awesome was how wonderfully warm and gracious everybody was afterwards, and how complimentary they were. And it was a moment where I felt really, really good in my skin, really, really good in my space, and really, really knowing that I was in the right place. Guys, this is what Curving Your Cube is about. This podcast is not about podcasting. But in order to tell my story of how I'm curving my own cube, I have no choice but to talk about podcasting, because in doing this podcasting has become my dream. Guys, I just had such a great experience of being surrounded by all this energy and love of fellow podcasters. It was so amazing. And then something awesome happened at the end. They did an award ceremony. So then Elsie gets up and she starts describing someone. And as she's describing this person, I'm thinking, oh, awesome, this is going to be another cool person I want to meet her. And I was her. It was me. It was me. I couldn't believe. People were coming up to me the whole rest of the day, guys, and saying, oh my gosh, I couldn't believe your face. Your face was priceless. You should have seen yourself. You were so shocked. Because I was. I didn't think it would be me. And it was, which proves the point. Don't doubt yourself. Don't sell yourself short. Show up. Show up to the game and do your best, and people will notice. I can't even tell you what an amazing moment that was for me. So the name of my award was the In Your Face Award, which I love. I thought was so funny, and it harkens back to a nickname my dad gave me a long time ago. He called me the bulldog. He says, once I sink my teeth into something, I don't let go. And that is very true. I'm so passionate about podcasting, I'll never let this go. So to have been recognized today with the In Your Face Award, it was just so pleasing to my soul. So thank you so much to Elsie and Jessica of She Podcast for doing that. That meant the world to me. So thank you. Another thing we did at our workshop this morning was we got in groups of like 4 or 5, and we came up with a really quick podcast episode off the fly, based on what we all had in common as an interest. And the one we came up with was called To Be Honest. Well, here's the thing. I recorded on, again, this recorder, just using a quick pause, keep going, same track method, because I had to turn in a complete file, no editing whatsoever. So I considered editing it, but I wanted it to be authentic to the experience that we had today. So if we ever put this out there for real, yes, we will edit it. But for the purposes of this episode, no. I wanted it to remain intact. Anyways, I'm about to end the night. I'm about to finally go back into the hotel, hit the bed, and get some really good sleep. I've been up since 4:30, drove for 2.5 hours this morning. Had an amazing long day, but I am exhausted. So this is the close of day 1 at Podfest 2017. Hashtag PME17. This is Jenny and I'm so excited. This is technically day 1 of Podfest, but my day 2 because I was here for the workshops yesterday, and I'm so excited to finally get to be here.
I'm so excited and I just can't hide it.
That's right.
Teresa's about to lose control. I think she likes it. She's dancing.
Friday, baby.
It's Friday.
Oh my gosh. So how many Podfest is this for you? I see the tag, but let the people know.
I'm proud that this is my 3rd year at Podfest, and I didn't expect this little 3rd year ribbon, but now that I have it, there's a sense of pride with it.
These should be. I'm looking forward to my 2nd year one next time I come. So that's awesome. What are you most excited about learning this year that's different from the other 2 years?
Oh man, it's all about visiting with good people and learning from smart people.
Yeah.
I don't pretend to be the smartest person in the room. I'm absolutely not that. But when you talk to a lot of other people who are in the trenches, you just gain some perspective, and certain things work for some people that you haven't considered, or maybe it didn't quite work for you, and you can figure out why. I don't know. There's all sorts of things that you learn. And then there's the human element too that's outside of podcasting. Like I was just talking to my friend Neil, and he was telling me about how his mother-in-law just passed away like 2 days ago, and it's like you sit there and you chat with your buddy and you console them, and it's bigger than just podcasting. It's life.
It's a connection.
Yeah, and I'm talking to him and I'm saying, hey man, how are you doing? You okay? And all of a sudden perspective is back into play. Sometimes it's easy to get lost and caught up into all these things that you forget. Hey man, we're all people. We need to
absolutely. I mean,
manage different things and go through, navigate different situations.
Yeah, Ramona from the Sports Gal, I think is her podcast. She shared a very human moment last night on stage that was really, really touching. I wanted to ask you, because I know we're at Podfest, but I know you're also one of the founders of Podcast Movement, right?
Yes.
So tell us about the relationship between the people at Podfest and the people at Podcast Movement, and how you guys get along, because I'm really excited that you're here to support Podfest.
Well, I love Podfest. I mean, I wouldn't come to something for 3 years if I didn't think it was worth coming to, obviously. And Podfest is a bunch of podcasters. Podcast Movement, is an event for podcasters as well, but that doesn't mean we're not still podcasters at our core. So I try to, and Podcast Movement in general, we try to support all podcasting efforts, and sometimes we don't do a good job of that, but like an example, there's an event in DC called DC Podfest, and we were able to sponsor I think it was the name badges for that. And then there's other events like the Now Hear This Festival. We did some sponsorship with that. So we when we can, we give back. And sometimes it's not financially, sometimes it's volunteering, sometimes it's just sharing stuff online. But we know what it's like because we do it ourselves. And any way we can contribute, even if it's small, it's better than nothing. And it's real easy to look and say, hey, these people are, our competitor, and they're, trying to steal, or, and I've learned a long time ago that having that attitude is just, I don't feel like that's the right way to live. So
I love that.
I'm not perfect, do I get annoyed with certain things from time to time? I absolutely do. But at the same time, if I can support other podcasters, I try to. And I figure everything else plays out. So
that's awesome. So as a first-time podcast convention attendee myself, what would you recommend is the one main thing I need to get out of being here, my time here?
Oh man, so many. I think visit and just connect with as many good people as you can, and the sessions obviously are going to be good, but it looks like they have some kind of video of that after the fact. So don't be in a scenario where you say, okay, I have to attend a session, and that might cause you to miss out on some of the conversations in the hall. But use your prudence and perspective with that too. But I think if you can go back and watch some of the stuff, that should free you up to continue to talk. And the more people you can connect with, I think that's a good thing.
That's a very good tip.
But I don't think there's a wrong answer either. I think if you sit in all the sessions, you're going to take a lot of good notes. And then I think the advice there is don't just take the notes, but find something that you can take action on and actually apply it the way you're doing. Otherwise, if you don't, you just had fun at a conference, which is good, but I think it's better than that. So
it's better to have takeaways, and I'm here because I want to have a lot of takeaways. Podcasting has become my passion since I started it. It wasn't before, but since I've been doing it, it's become my passion and my life dream and my goal. So to be here has been exciting, and to meet someone who is so deep in the trenches with it. As the first person who's on this recording with me, I couldn't be more excited. So thank you so much for taking a few minutes, Jared.
You cut that out. You stop that.
I really appreciate you. Thank you.
You're terrible. No, I'm grateful. I really appreciate it. And everybody, go and check out Jamie's show. If you're checking it out, tell 10 friends.
Thank you. All right, so I'm here now with Ryan Gray, and Dr. Ryan Gray, who Jared just introduced me to, and he has several shows. So I'd love to hear about your shows, your network. Just tell us a little about what you do.
So I have my biggest show, my oldest show is called The Pre-Med Years, and it caters to the general pre-med audience, students that want to go to medical school.
Yeah.
My second oldest show is called Old Pre-Meds, so non-traditional pre-med students, people that are changing careers or had some other diversion in their path. The third show is all about the MCAT, which is the test that you have to take to get into medical school. Now my newest one is called Specialty Stories, where I interview physicians about their specialty, why they chose it, what they like about it, what they don't like about it.
Wow.
So those 4 shows, I formed the Med Ed Media Network for medical education, and I have a 5th show signing on hopefully soon. That's actually not my show. The first 4 are all my shows. And this next one, adding to the network, will hopefully be a new one.
That's great. Why do you like medicine so much?
I wanted to cut people. That's
best answer ever.
That's why I wanted to be a doctor. And then life took me in a different direction, and now I podcast full time. I don't even see patients.
That's amazing. So I see that on your tag that you're a contributor. What are you contributing to the podcast? Podfest.
I'll be on a panel this morning. Friday morning, talking about how to build a network.
Awesome. I will definitely be. Oh wait, I'm definitely going to be there. That's right. I just realized it's on my schedule, so I look forward to it. Awesome. Dr. Ryan Gray, thank you so much for taking time. All right, folks, so as you know, I am at Podfest, living my own dream, curving my own cube, and I am interviewing other podcasters whose dreams are the same as mine, and I am so excited because I have one of my new besties, even though he may not say that, I say that, one of my new besties, Doughty Pena, who you may remember I've talked about maybe once or twice or 15 times. He was my special guest at my last meetup group with Palm Beach Podcasters, founder of Gamertag Radio. Tomorrow is his 12-year anniversary of podcasting. I mean, bow down, bow down, bow down. So excited. And he just kicked off technically day 1, but in my world day 2, because I did the workshop yesterday, of PME 17 with an amazing keynote. So, Danny, thank you so much for being here. What was it like for you to be up there and deliver your keynote?
It was good. I had a good time. I was not nervous at all. I was just telling my story about like our community, like how I started and why I always engage with them and stuff. So it was a lot of fun. A lot of people were coming up to me saying, man, that they loved it. So that's good.
Yeah, you nailed it. You hit it out the park. And what I loved about it, and I got, of course, a preview at that meetup group, was you have collected all this amazing memorabilia of your journey, all this amazing content, your audio, voicemails, all of this stuff. What made you, from the very beginning, know that it's good to capture these things and hold on to them?
Actually, I've been doing that since I was a kid. Anything that's very important to me or something that was like special during a time in my life, I always save it. So I still, to this day, I have movie tickets that I went on my first date with my fiance over 10 years ago. So I still have those tickets.
Sorry, ladies, it's taken.
But I have a lot of cool stuff like that, So I decided also to do the same thing with a podcast, save all the cool voicemails, emails, everything, because I wanted to share that story to the world, so it was cool to actually showing that to the public that was there at Podfest,
Yeah, that's awesome. So as you look at are you going to be here both days, the whole time? Okay. Yeah. So as you look at the rest of your time here, because your business side is over, now it's time for you to just enjoy the rest of the time. What do you as a contributor, but also an attendee, what are you hoping to gain from being here at Podfest?
There's a couple panels I want to check out. Like one of them I'm very curious is about local podcasts. So Planted in Miami, they're my friends from the Miami 305.
Yeah, I met both of them yesterday.
They're part of the panel. I'm going to attend theirs. There's a couple other keynotes I also want to check out, like Dave Jackson. I think he's closing Podfest. He's amazing. And so on. So yeah, I'm just going to hang out, chill. Can't wait for the movie tonight, the screening. I'm very excited about that.
Because you're in it. You're a star.
That too. I have
The Messengers, by the way, The Messengers.
A podcast documentary. Shout out to Neil. He's been editing nonstop. I'm very excited about that because it's not only about my story, but other podcasters are also involved too.
Yeah.
So I'm very super hyped. I haven't seen my part yet at all.
Well,
I want to be surprised.
I think it's going to be amazing. And what I'm learning already from being here, just in this day plus, is how amazing this community is. I mean, I know podcasting being an indie endeavor it's more prone to that, but oh my gosh, it's so true. It's such a community, and to have you speak about how to build your podcast community, you know, I think it translates, because now podcasters are a wonderful, tight-knit community too, and I love that. What have you loved about being just part of the podcast community?
I just love that a lot of people like to help each other out, which is cool. I love that.
You have been so kind to me, so thank you.
Yeah, that's cool. And see, I don't care about the whole like, oh, I have 1 million downloads, I'm popular. Like, I'm not into that stuff. I'm more of about the person. Like, are they contributing the right way? Like you're doing your thing with your meetups. I think that I love that. You know, like little things like that helps our community. You know, so that's why I love to like give back always. So one thing that I forgot to mention during my keynote is that never forget those that helped you since day one. You know, like I'll never forget our listeners that started listening to us back then. That's always saying thank you to them, doing like special little things so they can appreciate that we're engaging with them and everything, you know, so.
Absolutely, because they're your biggest proponents too, and it's all about giving back. So
giving back, yeah.
Thank you so much, Danny, for taking a couple minutes to give back to me.
No problem.
And spend a little time with me. Thank you so much.
Good luck with everything, though. I'm proud that you're here. You made that move. You're here.
I did. Thank you to Chris, because he's the one. I'm here because of him, so thank you to Chris.
But see what I'm saying? Like little things like that. You're here now. This is going to change your life.
Already has, and I can't wait the rest of the time. It definitely is.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you never know what could happen. So you're probably going to change other people's lives too now because of this move. You know, so
I can only hope.
That's why I ended with that graduation speak from my cousin,
which was amazing. Shout out to your cousin, who for the first freeze frame, I thought, I turned to Teresa and I'm like, is that Carlton?
That's awesome though. No, but honestly, I wanted to end it with that because that's my message. You know, it's up to us. If we really want to make change in the world, like around the world, we have to make that change first. You know, so it was cool.
Starts with us.
Yeah, starts with us.
Thank you, Danny.
Thanks.
Yay!
No problem.
You go first. All right, guys, I am here again with two female podcasters. They're the first female voices I'm capturing today, and I'm so excited to have them. We have Heather and Denicia. And Heather, you are the newbier of the podcasters. So, I want to know why you're here today.
I'm here just to learn from everybody else and get inspiration, and I'm really excited because hopefully I'll be launching soon.
Absolutely, and tell us what your podcast is going to be so we can all pre-promote it.
It's called Brainstorms to Butterflies, and it's for teen girls to mid-20s. And I'm going to be interviewing mentors and young entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs who started at a young age to inspire the girls to make their dreams into businesses.
And that's similar to the message, as we were talking about, of this podcast, is encouraging people to do what they dream and demystifying it and giving people mentor connections like you're doing is a great way to do that. So I think your podcast is going to be amazing, and I'm so glad you're here and that we met. Yay! And Denicia, award-winning. What was the award you won yesterday? Share that.
Oh, it was the Bravest Topic Award.
Because your topic is quite brave, which is?
Menstrual cycles.
Yes, it is.
And periods. Yes.
She is a brave woman. Girl power to the max. I look up, I'm like, oh my gosh, she went there. That's amazing. Good for you. What made you start that podcast? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, So the podcast, it's called Sisters of Flow. Yes, it's flow, just like that.
Yeah.
And I started it after realizing how many people do not understand their menstrual cycle, yet they are being over-medicated, unnecessary surgeries, including hysterectomies for a lot in their 20s, where if we could just increase education about what is proper menstrual health, which I present from an Eastern medicine standpoint, and I integrate it into Western medicine understanding, but myself being a doctor of Oriental medicine, I specialize in Oriental reproductive medicine.
She's an award-winning podcaster and a doctor? Excuse me.
I'm just saying, like, I do know my stuff. I do know the flow.
She does her own exam.
I know. She's so funny. Oh yeah. Yeah, so I was just like, you know what? We need to talk about this. Like, and the thing is it's a cycle. So like, I mean, no pun intended there, but like, you learn what you learn from whoever is around you. And so if all they know is just drink hot tea and then blah, 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 but now if you could equip yourself with more information that these could be potential red flags for potential chronic issues later on, like we can actually cut the cycle and like actually start to really talk about it, openly talk about it so people don't feel like they have to hide anymore. But then also just understanding how much power is within the cycle. Like you really don't get how much power is in the period. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry, and I'm not just talking about pads and tampon products. I'm talking about like the apps that are out there, the pharmaceutical drugs that are out there, the surgeries that are out there, the sales tax that's levied on our products.
Yeah.
Like, it's so much money that is made from us having periods naturally. And it's like, I want you to know what's happening. Because then that way you have an understanding, and hopefully it moves someone else to regain ownership of their own period, whether that is to have a healthier relationship, increasing period positivity, or even increasing menstrual health equity and access are my 3 key points.
That's awesome. And you know what? I think it really, really is a good testament to the power of podcasting, because your voice can be heard by women and young girls in areas of the world where they absolutely, which is probably most areas, right, don't talk about this stuff. There are girls still in this world who get their first period and have no idea what's happening to their bodies and completely freak out. So hopefully your voice can be a beacon to them, and more women and young girls in areas that may not be comfortable talking about it can discover your podcast and maybe listen to it on the DL, on the down low. They download it on the down low. And you can change.
DL squared.
Yes, DL squared. So you can change the world. So thank you so much for lending your voice to the power of podcasting. And I think, Heather, you're going to be amazing too.
Yes.
Absolutely amazing. So thank you to both of you. Thank you, girls, ladies, women. All right, guys, next set of interviews, also some female voices. I'm so excited to be talking to both of these ladies because they're so inspiring to me. I have Jessica Rhodes and Amanda Doughty. We went over that like 15 times. I still had to pause in my brain.
Sorry, it happened.
I know. So Amanda, why are you here at Podfest? What are you hoping to gain from this experience?
Well, I am here representing Interview Connections, and I got to meet Jessica a while back at a different podcast conference, and that all started because of this journey into Great Beer Adventure, which is my show. And Great Beer Adventure was an excuse to leave the house after being at home with the kids all day.
Yeah.
I'm not really a great stay-at-home mom, so I knew I had to get out, and I needed that excuse. And what better place to get out than actually go and have some beer someplace? So I went to a podcast New England, and Jessica was there, and I was so incredibly nervous. And Jared Easley made me stand up in front of people.
Isn't he amazing?
Yeah, when he's not making you stand up in front of people and ask a question to somebody. That was very, really intimidating. And so during that whole process, we got to meet, we connected on Facebook, and then it was an amazing connection because Jessica later on, her company was just blowing up, and it still is. You're doing amazing stuff, and I'm just truly inspired by Jessica myself that she was looking for a guest booker, and I was able to I have been able to actually send the kids out of the house now. So, I stay at home. I do a lot of stuff for Jessica. I have time to work on my show as well. And we were at MapCon in Jersey, and Jessica's like, yeah, I think I'm gonna bring you down to Podfest. And I was like, whoa! We're going to Orlando, folks.
And you have the most amazing equipment holster I think I've ever seen.
Oh yeah,
it's badass.
Well, thank you. My podcasting harness is wonderful. It holds my microphone, my recorder, and my beer.
Naturally.
I'm a beer podcast.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So, Jessica, okay, so last night before I went to bed, I recorded my thoughts on day one, what I consider day one of the convention, including how I mistakenly thought I was getting your award. So, to the listeners, this is Jessica, the one who got the actual award that I was an idiot. I thought I was getting. So tell us what was the experience of getting an award and being honored like that yesterday?
It was a great experience. I mean, as I don't know, maybe you'll play like half of the recording until you realize it wasn't you and you shut it down.
Maybe I might.
So,
if I'm brave.
Yeah, to hear to hear things that I have done read back to me from somebody else.
Yeah.
Like, oh. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm pretty great.
It's a good feeling.
I mean, when you're like doing it all, it just seems like, oh yeah, I'm just doing it.
Yeah.
You're not like in somebody else's life. So to hear it, I was like, oh, like that feels really great to be recognized, because when you do something entrepreneurial, whether it's a podcast or a business, like it's kind of a thankless job. Like you don't have a boss that's saying, good job.
Right.
Well done, you're employee of the month. It's
Right.
You just do it, and it felt really good to be recognized.
Well, I think that's the difference between people who are just dreamers and people who are doers, because doers just put action behind what they really want to do and just don't think about it. They just keep going, propelling forward, and it's not until you have a moment of pause and someone else is like, wait a minute, let me pat you on the back for a minute, that you even think about it. And that's really great that you had that moment yesterday. Tell us why you started the company.
I started the company, like Amanda, I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. But then I guess I wasn't that good at it either. I was like, I need to grow this business and make money and then like hire a nanny. So yeah, the whole staying at home thing was not really like exactly what I actually wanted.
Right.
So I started the business so I could be at home, so I could have a home-based income. And then from there, the entrepreneurial bug bit me. I could see that, I could make more money and I could scale this and I could make more money but not work more hours, and seeing ways to grow it. And and I've just grown it over the last few years. Podcasting has exploded, the industry has exploded, and I've just kept the business growing along with that all.
And now you have a book out, right? I think I saw a book on the table.
I just launched my book. It's called Interview Connections, How to Rock the Podcast from Both Sides of the Mic. So I talk about being a host and being a guest and leveraging the interviews and the relationships that you make in podcasting to grow your business.
All right, so listeners out there who are stay-at-home moms and want to do other things, there's your inspiration.
If you're not good at it, don't worry.
Yeah, right. I think we should just kind of have like I tried. Yeah. Like mom's club.
I tried to be a stay-at-home mom. I tried. And I'm good at it.
I tried, and we could just it's like a book club. So but book clubs are just code for drinking beer.
Right. Anyways, well, that sounds right up your alley anyway.
Right, exactly. So we're gonna get on this.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for taking a few minutes to chat with me and inspire my listeners. And one more shout out for your show.
The Interview Connections podcast.
Awesome.
And Great Beer Adventure.
Sweet. Thank you guys. All right, so I'm here with James VanProoyen, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, with the Military Podcast Network.
Okay, so my podcast network that started last month is a network that'll really impact anyone pre, post military or during the military of all backgrounds. My show that's on that network, Veterans in Business Show, is centered around the business community and people maybe wanting to get into business that are veterans or that are active duty right now. The other show that's on that network is on the other side, Leadership After Transition, which is a big thing. That's the intent of that show, is not only for people who are in the military to listen to and get value, but also civilian people who hire people to really hear who these veterans are that are
everything
coming
they
out.
have to offer.
Yes. So that's a very important show.
Awesome.
I got a third show that just came out on that network called Veterans Benefits Made Easy. It applies to people like me. Like, I retired from the Air Force, and when we're in, we just don't think about the things, even though they tell us some of them, there's just so much that unfortunately we're eligible for. And people of all backgrounds, people who have fought in the past, who may go into it, the more we know, the better. So that the Veterans Benefits Made Easy is the name of that third show.
I noticed your tag says third year. Oh my gosh. So what keeps bringing you back?
So actually through this community is how I'm a podcaster today. And you came up to me saying this is about people who chase their dreams. Really, this was something that was too good to really ignore as far as podcasting. So when a year before I retired from the Air Force, I was fortunate enough to meet Krimitsos, who's the founder of Podfest.
He's amazing.
He is amazing. So
I'm hoping to have him be my final one.
So him and his wife, I love being around Chris and Katie. I love helping them both in the podcasting world and also in their Tampa Bay Business Owners Organization. And it's back to the chasing dreams. It's really, I came out of IT in the military and I don't want to do IT. I wanted to go make a bigger impact, thus the network. And that really came out of this community where I'd heard someone else, Glenn the Geek, who has Horse Radio Network.
Yeah.
When I heard that concept, I couldn't ever get rid of that. So instead of just helping a little bit of one section of what the military thing that I was passionate with, I wanted to help more. So it's all about chasing your dreams, and I'm a big Gary Vaynerchuk fan, and same thing. It's like, why would you want to get up and not enjoy what you do? And it's not work, it's fun, you're following your passion. The money is going to be there regardless, so do I want a certain amount of money and do a job I can't stand and then just be in a rat race and not want to go to work on Monday and dread Monday? No, I don't even know what day it is. It's Sunday, it's Saturday, it's Wednesday.
Amen. Perfectly said. And it's a testament to the power of putting yourself out there and helping others. And I'm so happy to hear that you're doing something you love now. So congratulations on that. Thank you for being here.
Very nice meeting you.
Likewise. Yay! All right, listeners, so I have another female voice for you that I'm so excited to share. So Jared Easley just introduced us because he's amazing. And your name is Nicole Welch. So tell us all about your show.
I have a new show. I had an old show called Real Time Real Men Only. It's still in iTunes, where I was only interviewing real men and how they balance their business and their personal life. Had some great guests on that show, so check that out. My new show is about to launch, called Uncensored Heart Radio, and it is basically about where your heart can go to places your head won't fit. So we're talking more about deeper issues. My background is in psychology. We're talking about root issues and solutions to those problems of why people don't live from their heart.
What brought you to Podfest? This is your first time. I see a little tag on it, but I can't see what number it's on.
No, I've been here before.
Your second year.
I went to the very first one, actually, that Chris and Katie did. I've been friends with them for a while. So the very first one was very small. This is huge compared to how it was. So it has really grown exponentially over the past 3 years.
Yeah. And what do you hope to gain from the experience of being here that can help you move forward?
I am a connector. So all I want to do here is connect with people. And there was a couple people I really wanted to hear. Aaron Walker is one of them. He was on my show, and he's a very deep guy. He has a lot of wisdom, older gentleman. He's speaking today. And then my husband is actually speaking on a panel for Real Estate Niche. His show is about real estate.
Oh, I think I may have passed by him. I think I heard someone say that, so I may have passed by when he was mentioning it.
Yeah, so, and he's good friends with Jared too.
Absolutely. So this is a testament for my listeners to, I think the nugget I want to pull out for them is, take every opportunity. If you've met people virtually and doing whatever it is that you want to do, if you have an opportunity to meet them in person and shake a hand or hug and make a personal connection, take that chance. And so go near, no, go far, but whatever you do, try to make those connections happen.
Yeah, I believe proximity is power. So I believe that we get change when we're in the presence of another amazing human being. And I think everybody's pretty amazing. And so I want to be in their presence, and so I'm all about that. I love online presence. It's great. I have a lot of friends that we connect with and have never met in person. We will Skype and do that. But there's something about proximity, being close to someone, that changes the atmosphere.
I agree. I'm already feeling the energy here, and it's a really great community. And when people are pursuing what they love and they have that great community to support them, it makes things just all that much better. So Thank you so much, Nicole, for taking a couple minutes to chat with me and express why you're here. I really appreciate it. And good luck with all you're doing and your shows.
Thank you so much. And thanks. It was an honor for you to interview me. So thank you, Jamie.
Oh, stop it. right, guys, I've brought you a lot of female voices so far. I'm back to bringing some dudes onto this podcast. So we're still in day 2, and I'm here with my new best friends in podcasting. Would you like to introduce yourselves and tell us why you're here?
Sure. My name is Chris. I'm with Brother Speak Podcast, where we talk about Black LGBT issues and topics.
Not Brother Speak Politics, which is on your badge.
Exactly. She was a little excited when she, I know I'm a big celebrity here, so she kind of put it all down wrong, but that's fine. Yeah. I'm good with that. I'm fine with that.
And how long have you been podcasting?
Now it's been 1 year. It's been actually been 1 year.
Oh, that's right. March it'll be exactly a year, right?
And so it started off, looked like a crew, several of us, and then it slowly dwindled down to just me. But actually, I was fine with that. One thing about a podcast, you grow and you kind of realize what things are needed, what things are not, and it was a nice little bit of process. And some people realize, well, maybe it ain't for me, and I like it. I like mine.
There you go.
Sticking with it.
Awesome. And I know you're like pretty much in my backyard because I'm in Palm Beach County and you're in Fort Lauderdale, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. How are you engaging with other podcasters around your area?
I'll be honest with you, I have not engaged enough.
That's a trick question. That's my forcing you on record to join my meetup group.
But really, that's really the reason I said I want to kind of find a little bit more in terms of how the community is down here, and that's one of the reasons why I came here, because I really have not engaged enough with other podcasters. I really haven't.
Well, I'm so glad you're here. And how about yourself? Would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Sure. My name is Lazaro, and I represent Gen Y Speak podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I just kicked it off recently, kind of piggybacking towards his. That's why you find the similarity. Gen Y Speaks, Brother Speak. But Gen Y Speaks, it talks about the perspectives of millennials in any situation, and a bunch of different topics, from politics to the perspective of millennials living at home with their parents and why that is.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about millennial perspective on marriage. My co-hosts, they moved away. They went off to grad school, both of them. So with scheduling, with their schedule, my schedule, it's kind of been a little tough. So I kind of left it for a little bit, getting myself into other things, into film. But I came here with him and hoping, I guess, for this to spark that motivation back up and get to doing it. Because I know that there's an audience for it, and I know that there are a lot of people who aren't even millennials, but who would like to listen to the perspective of millennials and kind of understand how to work together with them.
Absolutely. So is this your first podcast convention?
This is my very first, yes.
Very first. How about you?
Very first.
Yeah, me too. High fives to first. Woohoo!
No longer virgin.
No longer virgin. So I was excited to come here because I want to take my podcasting to the next level. I want to bring back a lot of information to the people that I'm helping support and get their podcast to the next level. So my question for you is, what does taking your podcast, quote unquote, to the next level mean to you?
Well, to me, the branding issue. The branding is something that you really want to kind of get people to understand who you are first off, and kind of view you as the expert. And so the question is, how do I view myself? Do I view myself as an expert? So you gotta really take a step back and look at all the things you've done, all the episodes, look at the subjects you've been talking. You know your niche, so what is it, how's the audience gonna start relating that to you, other than just being the podcast? How much more can this really cross over in terms of speaking engagements, books maybe, interviews, other things like that. So that branding aspect and becoming that expert, you how is it working? How can I make that work? So it's a good thing I came here, because I want to kind of hear other people's talk and what things they had to do in order to get there. So that's what I'm looking to do, basically.
And that's a good nugget for my listeners is, you never know what you might gain from an opportunity, so take as many as you can, put yourself out there and go network and put yourself in front of other people who are doing something like you're doing or have done to an amazing level what you're doing. You can always learn more. So that's a great testament for anybody who's pursuing their dreams and doing something they love. So what does taking your show to the next level mean to you, Lazaro?
I think taking it to the next level would mean having a listenership that grows continuously, and because to me it gives an appreciation. It helps me understand that other people appreciate my view on these different topics, what I have to say as a millennial, and that it's going to continue to grow. So having more people appreciate and seeing that number grow, I think that's what taking it to the next level is. I've created an impact, and I can see it grow through the numbers. I think that's what taking it to the next level would be.
And that's the nugget I'll pull out of that is no matter what you're doing, whether it's podcasting or being an author or creating music or felt animals like one of my podcasts does, shout out to Jenny Plishy, is that so you have to build a community, right? Build a community of engaged people who enjoy the content, whatever that content means, that enjoy that from you and are then going to turn around and support it and help grow your numbers by telling others about it. So thank you guys so much for taking a couple of minutes and talking with me about why you're here at Podfest. I'm just trying to encourage people to, whatever the opportunity is that they can see, no matter how lofty they think it is, because 3 weeks ago I didn't think I was going to be here. I didn't think I was going to make it. Not like in a life-threatening way. I just mean like I didn't think I was going to be able to financially be able to make it. Whoa, that sounded way heavier than I intended. And I figured out a way around it. So try to figure out ways around obstacles and make your dreams happen. And thank you guys so much for contributing your voices. Yay! High fives! High fives! High fives on my thing. All right, guys, I just finished up with day 2 of Podfest, and I'm so tired, but yet so infinitely jazzed up at the same time because I'm just like, my mind has been blown as to how fantastic of an experience I'm having here. It really has been a dream come true worthy, and today, as I'm trying to build up, what I want to do and make podcasting my real true passion in life and pursue it, to come to something like a festival for your passion, a convention festival of convention for your passion, and soak up all the energy of everyone around you and the experiences and the knowledge. So it's just been fantastic. And today, it started off with Danny Pena's keynote. Big fan. He's just fantastic. And it was all about building a community. He shared some really wonderful insights that I'm going to bring to the table for you guys on how to better connect and build our community of dreamers who become doers, right? And people who are passionate about what they love to do and are brave enough to pursue it so that we can inspire others who are trying to figure it out. I also learned today a lot about building a network. And as you guys know, a big project I want to get more off the ground is my own network, Flintstone Media Podcast Network. And so to hear greats like Glenn the Geek and Gary Leland, Cam from Ham Radio 360, and Kim from Balancing Point to share how they've built a network and have found successes is just so inspiring for me, and just another takeaway for me about the importance of going to the space where the people who are great at what you do are. So wherever they're gathered, go. Because I went today and it just soaked up so much unbelievable information from all these great people. I went to a panel about monetization and another panel about tools to save you time. And all of these things are really wonderful, valuable tips for me as I craft and go through my journey that will help me achieve success. So I'm so glad that I came to this Podfest so I could soak up all of this. And I really want to encourage you guys to look for those opportunities and those conventions, or maybe it's a Facebook group or, whatever. A group of people that are gathered who love to do the same thing you're doing and can share in the struggles and their failures as much as their successes is just so important. But what was two things that my brain is kind of still stunned happened. So one is we were blessed to be able to be shown, all of the guests for Podfest, a presentation, a screening of The Messengers documentary, which is a documentary that's being produced right now and edited, and it's in like the final stages. We got to see a pre-final cut, which is pretty cool. And it's all about podcasting and how important and impactful it can be. And it was really neat to see them encapsulate why I love to do
what I do so much, and to again see these great legends and achievers in my field is just so inspiring. So it just totally plays into the concept of go and find those people who are great at what you do and learn and watch and be inspired by what they do. The second thing that was amazing from today that I really hope to continue to do tomorrow, there's still a couple people I'm targeting that I didn't quite get to today, is the concept of Vox Pop. I basically went around with this recorder and just did quick little 3 to 5 minute interviews with other people who are here to find out why they're here and try to gain some knowledge of their own motivations for coming to a place like this that is full of people who share their passion. And what was neat about it, and especially great for you guys, is how there's certain nuggets that you can pull out that apply to everybody pursuing a dream, everybody who's passionate about something, everybody who wants to do something amazing in life and do what jives them up and makes them happy. And everybody I talked to had a little bit of a different answer as to why they were here and what they were looking forward to and what they wanted to get out of it. And some really shared something important about their journey and how they got here. So I tried to pull out those nuggets that I think can apply to all my listeners, but it's just good to just soak up that kind of energy and inspiration in general, which is why I try to bring you such a diverse series of guests, authors, entrepreneurs, musicians, underwater photographers, whatever, anybody who's passionate about it, because the challenges of self-doubt, the challenges of looking for others in your field who share your passion, the challenges of figuring out the steps to get from being a dreamer to being a doer, all of that is the same. The pieces may look different, but they're all the same. And for all of us dreamers. So I'm hoping that so far with this podcast, you guys are getting some really good information, not only about what I'm doing and what I'm trying to do for you guys, but also really good information from all the people I've chatted with that can really apply to whatever your goals are. So thank you for continuing to listen. And tomorrow is day 3. So I woke up all ready to kick off day 3 of Podfest 2017, and I realized in my day 2 recap, I left out something major. Shout outs to Jared Easley. Oh my gosh. So shout out number 1 for him, because we heard him, I did a little quick clip with him earlier, and half the other clips you heard wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for Jared, because as I was walking through the convention floor, he would pull me aside and say, you got to meet this person, or this person would be great for you to talk to. And he just was making all these wonderful connections for me. And that's just the power of personal connections, which started virtually. Jared and I first, quote unquote, met online on social media, on Twitter in particular, and struck up a conversation and, have corresponded back and forth. And for us to finally meet in person was just fantastic. And it's a testament to how you can start making connections virtually, but then when you come together in person, if you find that opportunity, do it. And he was just so kind to help me then move that forward and parlay that into additional connections. So thank you to Jared Easley for that. Secondary shout out to Jared Easley. Jared is the founder of Podcast Movement, which is a different podcast convention that's taking place in October in Anaheim, California. And for him to be the founder of that podcast convention and be here at Podfest supporting this podcast convention, again, just another powerful testament to the community that is the podcasters here. And we're really, really just a great group. And Jared exemplifies that. So secondary shout outs to Jared for that. And tertiary shout out to Jared, because at one point he pulls me aside, he goes, let's go record. And I'm thinking, I already recorded you. And he said, no, I want to record you. And I said, okay. And he just spontaneously sat down in a corner. And he started interviewing me for his podcast, Star of the Doubts, which was just so kind of him to do. I felt so flattered. So please go check out his podcast, Star of the Doubts. Support Jared. I just wanted to make sure that I included that as part of my day 2 recap, because it was really, really powerful. So thank you, Jared. And here's to day 3. All right, guys, it's day 3 of Podfest, and I'm so excited because, listen, all right, so one of the people I was looking forward to meeting in the flesh the most is Elsie Escobar of Libsyn She Podcast. She is known as Yo Geek on everything. So, Elsie, thank
you so much for being as warm and welcoming. I think you called me delicious. You're just fantastic. So I want to know from you, well, like, what are you hoping that this podcast festival convention brings to your life and your passion? I know you're here representing Libsyn, but personally, what do you hope it brings for your life?
Just more connection with the people around here.
Yeah.
A little bit more of like conversations that are around creating the best content that you can, around getting your voice out there. I know that sounds a little bit cheesy, but it's like, to me, it seems like people don't really think about their own content above and beyond the technical aspects of it sometimes, or I'm just going to have an interview show. But really, what is the story that you're wanting to tell in your podcast? Not in the one episode, but as a whole. Like, what's that thing that constantly keeps coming up, and how you can guide your audience to really start to listen and see it from that perspective.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's actually really close to my big takeaway, was about giving more of myself to my podcast and really projecting my own journey and giving that overall umbrella scope story to my show. So yeah, it was very close. Oh, you know, as I'm talking to people, I must confess, I think it was the workshop, the Podfusion workshop you did, where you guys said, you know, certain lines like, I love that, and that's amazing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, as I've been interviewing people like real quick like this, I keep finding myself saying, I love that, or that's amazing. I can't help it every time you're in my ear.
You can totally, you'll be able to then be able to make a different choice, because it's okay to say it, especially if you really love it. But then you can say like, I love that because these words that you used really resonate with what I want to do. Or, wow, that's amazing. I have heard that before because of this, this, and this. I think what happens is we don't know how to just let it be. Like if somebody says something like incredible, and you can go, yeah, that's really great.
True.
Or how to, but
letting it pause.
And then also taking it to the next thing. So you could say like, that's amazing. How about we talk about this now?
Right.
Like, so that you don't let it be, like it's sort of like a period, like we're using you're amazing, or oh, I love that, or whatever it is, as a period,
right, instead of
really
continuing
thinking.
and making it a bridge, not a period.
Exactly.
Right.
That's what it is.
So as I've been talking to people have been really sharing a lot about their passion for podcasting, their dreams. Now I know, being at the Libsyn table in particular, but being Elsie Escobar, I must say, I know people are talking to you a lot about what it means for them to be here. Are you seeing any common themes for why people are loving being here at Podfest?
I think that, especially here, it seems like they've found a time in their lives where they're looking for something else. And they don't know what that else would be, meaning like, I think that there's a lot of, the age seems to be a little bit older for some of the people, and it seems like they're more like retirees, people that are finishing a career, or coming to the end of something in their life in some way, possibly not even age-wise. I mean, it could be a 20-something or a 30-something that has come full circle on the end of something, and they're like looking for the what's next. And podcasting has been the, wow, this seems like something that will really resonate for me for a variety of different ways, because some of the older people are like, finally I get a chance to talk about all of the things that I learned.
Oh, that's so
true.
Or
now, like people who are like the 20-year-olds were like, well, I thought that I wanted to do this music thing, but you know what? I don't want to do that. I want to do this thing, and I think this is the way for me to take action. So it seems like it's a creative outlet that feels like it's in their body somehow. Like, wow, it's always a yes. When you say yes to podcasting, you say yes to podcasting in your whole body.
You're so right.
Not in your head.
You're so right, which is why your yoga tips come in.
I know, right?
Absolutely. And it's funny because while you're talking, so the basis of my show is to encourage people to follow their dreams and do what they love and think outside the box and blah, blah, blah. Right. So what I figured, and this is a totally unscientific temperature of my audience, what I figured out is I have two major cores. One are those older somethings who are refiguring their life.
Right.
And the younger millennials who are just starting out and want to think outside the normal career box, right? So it's so funny that here you are and you're witnessing that podcasting is also that for people. And because in my journey of bringing that message to people, podcasting has become that for me. It's such a full circle conversation we're having, Elsie.
I know, it's kind of crazy because, one thing that I have noticed that it's like, it's sort of, it's in two ways, and I don't think anybody really talks about this, but everybody's talking about you doing a podcast for other people, right? Because generally it's like for the audience, you do it for the audience, blah, blah, blah. This is how you grow your thing, and like you get known, and your brand, and all that kind of stuff. But what I found that it was the most impactful for me was the act of podcasting as something that has helped me become a better person. So it's not about who's listening. It's really purely about me. It's like a self-help tool.
Oh, yeah.
So then it would be like I get behind the mic and I get clear about my voice. I get clear about who I am. I get inspired about having a conversation, or maybe even just talking to myself. Maybe it's an internal dialogue that's just coming out in this world, and you're not necessarily looking for anybody even to listen. It's simply the act of podcasting, as in the act of journaling. Like you could sit down and journal or paint. You can also record your voice, and that's also a thing, that it's okay to be doing that.
You're right. Well, thank you so much for taking a couple minutes of your time, and I'll close with this, Elsie. I love that, and that's amazing. Thank you.
That was great. You're so cute. I love that. That's amazing.
All right, guys, this is Jemmy with the double G's. They're not a bra duo, I promise. So I'll just let them introduce themselves.
I'm Gabe Aluisy, and I'm the host of Private Club Radio.
Awesome.
Glenn the Geek, and I have the Horse Radio Network.
And I am so honored to be the first ones to really talk to you after you are now award-winning podcasters. You just guys got some passies. So share with my listeners what your passies are for.
So I got the blooper award. Glenn got the actual real award.
They're all real. They're all real.
Yeah, yours was real.
Yours was real good.
It's like the Raspberry Awards of podcasting.
Yeah.
And I had the best blooper because when I was warming up on my show, warming up my voice in the morning, I actually recorded it and actually put the show out live to the world with my la 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 la.
Yeah, you
sing?
No, I'm a horrible singer.
Well, the takeaway for my listeners on that is we all make mistakes. We all do things, but hey, we got to laugh at them, and mistakes can be award-winning too, right? So tell us, Glenn, what your awards are.
Apparently, I won an award called the Community Hero Award for just helping out.
Because you are clearly just not a warm person at all. You don't care about anybody else.
He's being extremely humble by saying just helping out, by the way, Glenn. He's a mentor and a resource. He's always there to answer questions and really provide his knowledge from years of podcasting. So
we know all your listeners are podcast listeners, obviously.
Yeah.
And I just want to see this industry succeed. I want to see us be the best we can be, and I'm here to help anybody to do that.
And part of what I'm doing, obviously, is encouraging anybody to pursue any dream, but I in part want to encourage people to really pursue podcasting too. And I run a Palm Beach Podcasters meetup group, and I have a network I'm starting. Yeah, I have a network I'm starting. So being here is just super exciting for me. But guys, you've been much more accomplished than me. What's your perspective on a convention like this?
Well, honestly, I was at Podfest last year, and in this Podfest, I was expecting to have a good time, but really it blew me away. This is literally the best conference that I've been at, and I speak at conferences around the country and around the world. Yeah. And this was the most entertaining and really best produced conference I've been to in a long time.
Well, before I get your answer, I want to share something with you guys, because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Chris. He was so gracious to accept me into the Pay It Forward program. So this is me attempting to pay it forward. And I had to say, before you spoke again, I wanted to say, listen, I'm a direct product of clearly your own contribution to the convention. So what's it like for you to be here?
I love these things. One is we're in our basements and rooms a lot with a microphone.
Yeah.
So you don't get out much. And this is what solidifies the whole community, because the podcast community is a community as well as the community you have with your show. So that's so important. I always learn something here. I've been doing this 9 years, probably have more episodes than half the room. But I learn something every time that I use immediately. Monday, I have the one thing. I'm going to be using it on Monday. I find new products, new things that we can use to make our businesses better and more efficient. And so I always come.
There you go, guys. You've heard me say it before. I'll say it again. Always keep learning. Always keep improving. And when there's an opportunity to meet people who are doing what you do and love what you do, meet them. Yes, Glenn, you want to say something else?
I do, because this business is always changing.
Yeah.
It's changing every day, and it's changing fast, and we have to keep up with that. And it would be very easy to become complacent with what we do, Gabe and I. But, I know he's always looking to improve and do new things, and I'm always looking to keep ahead of the game. And that's what we have to do. Or we'll be left behind.
What is a really great lesson that you can help my listeners who are trying to just pursue any dream?
Well, I think this is the lesson, is that take the best ideas from the people who have done it and then make them your own.
Awesome.
I can't argue with that. That's all I've done to make a business. I've stolen everybody else's ideas and made it my own.
Hey, we wouldn't be anything if we weren't slightly repackaging every single thing we do. So
there's not a lot new. It's just we find maybe a better way to do it or a different way to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you guys so much for both taking a couple
I have
minutes.
one comment about you.
Sure.
I would like to see more enthusiasm in your show.
Yeah, right.
It's a common complaint I hear. Thank you guys both so much for doing this. I really can't even tell you. I idolize you both, and I'm just so excited that you participated. Thank you.
For being here. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yay. Oh, you guys are the best.
Can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Can you send me an email with your show? I want to listen.
My podcast is called Curve the Cube, and so I encourage people to follow their dreams and do what they love in life.
Love it.
And in doing that, podcasting has become my dream and the thing that I love. So now I'm like, well, now I need to share my journey, and here I am experiencing that. So, Lily, you are just an incredible inspiration. Just what you've accomplished in podcasting, both not in terms of just numbers, and also in impact, and also in your own personal journey. So, what does podcasting mean to you, and what does it mean at this stage to be at Podfest?
Well, just like you just told me, podcasting is just now a dream, and then podcasting has been my channel to share my stories. Before, it was just like a passion project. I've been an English teacher for 13 years. I got bored of teaching. I just want to do something creative, and then I always liked podcasting. And then I know podcasting, there's lots of potential to make money, to make an impact, but I'm very interested in making impact and making money as well. So I think that's pretty perfect.
We do have to make a living. I mean, let's be realistic.
I like money, but I also like making an impact. I love making an impact.
Yeah.
And then and just for some reason, I think God also helped along the way.
Oh, definitely.
Helped guide me along the way. And then He did give me some challenge and tests, making me someone that I really want to be.
Absolutely.
Like I shared that my marriage breakdown.
Yeah.
The loss of my mother.
Yes.
I wouldn't have a channel if there weren't podcasting. Yeah. So I'm just so grateful for this product.
And what I love about your story that can relate to my listeners, like absolutely, is that you really put yourself out there in what you're doing. You share your life with people, and it makes people really personally connect to you.
Yes.
So I think whether you're a musician, an artist, whatever it is, if you can personally connect to it and build your community that way, that's just such a key. So I honor you for doing that. Have you found that it's gotten easier to be that brave, or have you just always been that brave?
It wasn't always easy. Like, it was just a passion project. I was teaching English, but you know what? Along the way, I was inspired. I was inspired by other people who are transparent and open to me, and I was often teared up by their transparency. So I was like thinking, like, what can I share? So I dig deeper. Actually, those stories have long forgotten. So I found them, and then I started sharing it. And then before I start sharing a little bit, and I found some people have reached out to me, and then they say that, oh, Lily, your stories really transformed my life. And then I thought you were just a rich kid traveling around the world. I didn't know that you had a humble beginning. You had a sad story, sad marriage, and then your mother passed away and stuff like that. And then that's when I realized, oh, my stories also have that power.
Yes.
So I really encourage your audience to start thinking about how they can do to help others. Their own stories is the greatest message.
Oh, thank you so much for saying that and for sharing that, and thank you so much for just being you, Lily, and best of luck and blessings to you on every piece of journey that I know is going to come your way. So thank you so much. Yay!
You're so sweet. You're a professional. You're a pro. I didn't even know we started it.
Oh my gosh. So Guys, I've been giving you great voices from my weekend journey at Podfest, and I came now with the man, the myth, the legend, the organizer, Chris Krimitsos. Thank you so much for putting this on, and I've been talking to podcasters about their passion for podcasting that brought them to Podfest. So what has the experience been like for you to witness all these passionate people come together for one purpose?
Well, it's kind of like having a podcast, but I get to see it in person.
Yeah.
So that's the cool part. When I'm on this dais and I get to see 500 podcasters in the audience, and I see that we're connecting them together, I know that they will help inspire millions of people. So for me, it gives me a lot of pride and privilege to be able to do it. So it's like an honor.
Oh, it's an honor just to be here. So what have some of the more surprising things, or did anything stand out in your interactions with the attendees?
People flew in from all over, even people I didn't know. Like, I knew some of them, but it was surprising when someone was like, hey, I just found out a week ago. I came down from Chicago, like from all over the place. And then what surprised me is how deep our bullpen is. Mm-hmm. Because we had some people that, like Neil Gilarte lost his father-in-law, but Diane Daniels stepped in.
Right.
And it was probably one of the funniest things I've ever seen. And I've been to 1,700 things I've done myself, and I've been to like thousands others. So it was one of the greatest things ever.
Well, it's been such an experience for me. Transformative is not even a big enough word. So I thank you for putting this on. I thank you for allowing me to be here in the Pay It Forward program. Can't even explain that enough. So thank you so much, Chris.
Well, now, listen, that spark is with you, and you'll carry out the message and help others. You're already doing it anyways. So I think that's why we all get together, to reinforce our shields and then go back out and do what we got to do. So thank you for attending and being such a vivacious human being.
Thank you, Chris.
You're the best.
Thank you so much for having me here. I really can't even tell you thank you.
That was awesome.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we are on the turnpike, southbound, headed home from 3 of the most fantastic days of, I know, my life. What about you, Teresa?
My life too. Totally unexpected.
What was an awesome takeaway for you? What was like your highlight?
My highlight was that somebody actually offered to produce the pilot episode of a television show concept that I've had for a few years. That was totally unexpected at my first Podfest experience.
That was pretty awesome. I remember like the excitement you had. I think you texted me something first, and I'm like, oh my gosh, Teresa's got something good. I remember, I texted you back, pins and needles.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
I was like, something big's just happened. So oh my gosh, and so many wonderful things. So we just experienced day 3. I'm trying to think. Oh my gosh, so many highlights. Highlights. For me, I think the biggest one was when I stepped out and talked to Gabe and Glenn, who are 2 just podcasting giants, and Glenn the Geek, Glenn from Horse Radio Network, and talked to me about what was great was after I talked to them, that they were both so complimentary to me, and I just couldn't even believe it. And then for Glenn the Geek to say to me, hey, if you do this thing and make this one change to your show and give it a try for 6 months and stick with that, I'll be your mentor for the next year. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm still in shock. So yeah, there were so many moments like that. Oh my gosh. And then
what was the one thing? You didn't tell me the one thing.
The one thing was that he's offered to mentor me. And that Gabe, Aluisy from Private Club Radio, offered to be a special guest at a future Palm Beach Podcasters meetup group. So that was really fantastic. But I also want to tell our listeners, yes, our listeners, I said, that we did not walk away, besides all the stuff that's been shoved in our brains, we did not walk away empty-handed. Tell them what you won!
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I won a Tascam mini studio, which is awesome.
I'm not jealous at all, folks.
No, don't hate the player. Don't hate. And that was really, really exciting, because I was standing at the Tascam table yesterday, and I was totally enthralled by that little device, and then the software that comes with it, with the sound effects and everything. And I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. I would really love to have this. And sure enough, it was my name was called, and they even called my name right, which was amazing.
I know.
Oh my gosh. So I heard Aaron Walker speak yesterday. He is this amazing, just wonderful person who has this amazing entrepreneurial story. And I told him about my podcast, Business of Style, and he said, email my assistant, here's her information, and let's schedule me to be on your show. I was
Stop the phone.
But it's been so great this whole weekend. People are genuinely interested in doing whatever they can to support you in building your podcast following and really helping you have a really great podcast. That's the thing that's so amazing. So what a blessing.
Absolutely. And to bring it back to my listeners and whatever passion you're trying to pursue, and as you've been thinking through your own life and your own dreams as you've been listening to this episode, that's the power of getting in touch with people and putting yourself out there and putting action behind your passion. Yeah. Oh, that's a great title too, putting action behind your passion. Yes, we're coming up with good titles all over the place this weekend.
Exactly.
But yeah, when you don't act, nothing happens whatsoever. So here we are. I know I didn't think I was coming 3-4 weeks ago, and that leads me to my next question, and I'll pose it to you first, Teresa. What was the moment that you're most grateful for from this whole experience?
I'm grateful that I was able to attend at all, because a week ago I didn't know that I was coming to Podfest, and I've been hearing about Podfest from you, Jimmy, and and
from Danny Pena.
And from Danny Pena, yes, from Danny as well. The opportunity came with their Pay It Forward program for me to be able to go, and someone else was covering the cost. I think it was a sign from God. And I'm going to tell you, I arrived. The whole journey coming with Jimmy just being there to support me 100% too, which is like an amazing blessing. Oh my God.
It's been a wild weekend.
It's been amazing.
And I have to pause and give major shout outs to Libsyn, because without Libsyn and what Rob Walsh and Elsie Escobar do hosting the feed and giving all the latest, greatest information, I wouldn't have even known about the Pay It Forward program. So thank you to them big time, because I was able to attend because of the Pay It Forward program too. I also didn't know I was going to come a couple of weeks ago, but when you see something that you want and you really, really desire to go after, do your research. Try to find if there's a way to get you to go. Email people, contact people. You never ever know who will want you there as much as you want to be there. There are opportunities around every corner, so don't be shy about it. And today was just, oh my gosh, I'm trying to my brain is both exhilarated and exhausted at the same time, which I didn't know was possible. But we saw some amazing people, and I loved all just throughout the entire weekend the random breakouts that happened, and random little meetup groups, like the women's meetup group that just randomly came up yesterday. So it's been such a wild ride, and I might give some additional notes and thoughts later after I've rested my brain about the power of this weekend. But I definitely want to drive the point home that these experiences, there are a lot of them out there, and they may be big like a convention, they may be small like a meetup group, or just a cup of coffee with a mentor, but you have to make them happen, because you won't have any fruit in your life if you don't plant some seeds, right?
Absolutely. You have to be willing to step out of your comfort zone. You have to be willing to ask for what you want, and you make the decision to go for it, and then you allow yourself to be open to receiving what comes your way.
Absolutely. And actually one of the major breakthroughs that I had today in particular was, for the first time, I've been podcasting for a little over 2 years, right? But as much as I'm helping other people learn how to do it and all that other stuff, like there's a piece of me that still doubted my authority and still doubted my place in this space. And what this weekend did was give me a lot of confidence that I'm in the right place. I'm doing what and I'm respected by my peers. And there's no shortage of warm, fuzzy feelings that comes from that. So that's why personal interaction can be so key, because it builds you up, right?
Absolutely. There's great support out there. People recognize you and they affirm you if you just allow them to. We do not do any of this, and this was something that was emphasized many times this weekend at Podfest 2017. We don't do any of this alone. You have to have a team, and you make sure that your team is on your side and rooting for you. That's what your team is. Your team is not naysayers. Your team is not people who are questioning or doubting what your goals and your dreams are. Your team is 100% behind you. They are honest and truthful to you, but they are 100% supportive of you. And if you don't have that kind of team, then you need to kick them off.
So once again for the people, because I'm about to stop recording so I can drive a little more smoothly. Once again for the people, tell them the name of your podcast, Teresa.
So my podcast is called BOS, The Business of Style.
Tagline, please.
No more starving artists.
That's right. And no more dreamers who never become doers. So I'm going to shut this off so I can drive more, but I'll probably come back with some more thoughts, like with a refreshed brain. Thanks, guys.
You have successfully curved the cube. Alright guys, this is Jemmy. I've had a little bit of time to rest my brain. And so I wanted to give you, oh my gosh, you can hear my voice is just exhausted. But I wanted to give you more of a day 3 recap than my completely exhausted brain was able to do. So, because podcast day 3 was, I'd say was my existential day. my come to Jesus day. And I hope that everybody, every single one of you in your journey to chase your dreams and find success, I hope that each and every one of you has a come to Jesus day. Whether you believe in Jesus or not, have a come to Jesus day. I hope that for every one of you, and you'll see what that was. For me, it meant a lot of things, actually. I've been reflecting a lot on what Curve the Cube is and who my audience is. The reason yesterday was so transformative was, I mean, there were a lot, but in particular, I want to point out that when you heard me interview Gabe, Aluisy, and Glenn the Geek, what you didn't hear is what happened after we stopped recording. Glenn gave me some really great advice. And he made me agree to a promise. I'll tell you what that promise is in a moment because it affects you guys. But he said that if I keep that promise for the next 6 months, or did he say 3 months? I think he said 6 months. That after that, he'll then mentor me for a year. Guys, that's like a local reporter getting a call from Oprah saying, I'll mentor you. I mean, there are no words. There are absolutely no words for the impact that had. I probably scared a few people because I went around to the other side of like this open air pool that they had at the hotel, and I called home and I talked to my dad, and people around me were like probably thinking, I don't know if she's crying because it's really horrible or she's crying because it's really that good, but it was really that good. I was crying hysterically. I just telling my dad about this, and I just I'm so grateful, and I'm gonna take advantage of every single bit of advice and mentorship that he's willing to squeeze out for me. So the promise was he wants me to make one tweak to my show, and that is he wants me to start releasing just twice a month, first and the 15th. Now, as I'm recording this, it's now the 26th of February. February only has 28 days. What a pickle. That means that by the time you're hearing this, I hope and pray I have had enough in me to get this entire thing edited by the 1st, because that is my goal, to show Glenn that I am serious about this. And I told him I'm going to keep that promise. So for you guys, that means maybe fewer episodes, but higher quality episodes. I'm going to take the time to put a lot of what I learned into action starting now, and starting to really improve the show and bring a lot more content to you guys to help you put action behind your passion and go from being dreamers to being doers. There'll be a new segment that I'll be introducing at the end of each show called The Learning Curve. And that segment, I aim to take out that super juicy nugget from the episode and flesh it out and go dive deep into it, and then give you guys some action items. So I'm going to be introducing that segment, The Learning Curve, at the end of each show, along with a lot of other stuff. So there's so many things that my mind is buzzing. So starting with our next episode, you're going to see some really amazing and powerful changes, I hope. And that'll be better for you and better for your enjoyment of the show. So thank you guys so much for coming along with me on my journey as I can curve my own cube, as I go from being a dreamer to a doer, as I pursue my passion of becoming a podcaster. And I hope everything that I do can be an inspiration to you, both in my successes and failures. So I hope that's what this show can be. So let's move forward with that in mind as we all journey to curve our own cubes. I thank you guys so much for being along on mine. Love you guys. Oh yeah, find your passion, do your thing.
But as I watched people, this woman started to really shine. I started to see that she was doing some work out there that I wanted to pay attention to. I was wondering, wow, she's very smart. She started to contact Libsyn and listen to our podcast and
that is smart.
Contribute, give feedback, offer value to our listeners, and then she would kind of promote herself in a very classy way. And I was like, oh, this is fantastic. I kind of dig this. She would actually was able to dictate specifically, email from email. This is what I'm doing. I'm celebrating in this way. I'm going to send it to you via audio. I'm going to show you a link. And I'm going to write a blog post. It's so exciting! And I was like, oh my God, this is her. So then it made me be passionate about her, because she was constantly doing a back and forth. She was constantly reaching out and offering help the whole time, consistently, in this wonderful way. So,
girlfriend is a hustling fool. We already gave that away out to Jessica. She is a brilliant marketer, and she helps other people market their podcast as a business. She is helping brand podcasts. She is helping get podcasts out there. She is helping them feel confident. And so we wanted to give the final award. Click it, girlfriend. It's the In Your Face Award. Yay!